Hi there, and welcome to part 2 of our sentence instancing tutorial series, where we've created the fundament of our sentence instancing tool in part 1. We're now going to build a simple but effective UI around our animation. Also a little bit of cleanup and optimization tricks. If you haven't followed the first part of the series, no problem, but we're picking up where we've left off, so certain steps might not be entirely clear. So without further ado, let's get started. So this is where we've left off. I'm going to press the timeline to play. And first I'm going to check in perform mode by pressing F1 to see how our animation is following along in perform mode. So the first thing we'll see is that our resolution isn't right. And this field widget is in the bottom left corner and it's a little bit small. So we're going to fix a couple of things. First, we're going to adjust the resolution of our main project. So we're going up a level, press P, make the width 720, 1280. And I'm also going to give this a global op shortcut. Call this one main. As your networks are getting more complex and you want to access certain parameters from your main project container, your expressions can get a little bit long because you have to fill in the relative path by dot dot slash dot dot slash dot dot slash. And as you get deeper inside of your network, especially with UI building, it's easier to fill in a global op shortcut, so you only have to use this main expression to access all the parameters in here. So we give this one a try immediately by changing the render settings. We don't make it hard-coded, so we use op main bar width. For the height, we use H. So now it's only one level up, but you can imagine if this render top is inside a container and that container is in a container as well, your expression path can get very long. And this is not place, this is place independent. You can access the main container by using this short expression. We'll do the same thing for this constant. H. So now if we're making adjustments in the main container, our render settings and this constant setting is following along. So now we fixed that. If you press F1 again, see how it looks. It's still black. And that's because we need an out here. An out. So if you press F1 again, there is our lovely animation we've created in our first part. I'm going to split my window and place my perform window on top of the right one. So when I'm adjusting things in the UI, I can see how it's going to look. So I don't have to press F1 every time again. What I usually do with UI building is that I'm going to split my window in 4 parts. Bottom left, bottom right, top left, top right. And first of all, I'm going to give this one the height and width of the main project container as well. Going inside, creating 4 containers. Call this one top left. And since we're splitting the width and the height, we can give this an expression divided by 2. H. Gonna copy this one 4 times. Call this one top right, bottom left, bottom right. Second thing we're going to do is we give all these container a global op shortcut as well. Call this one top left, top right, bottom left, bottom right. Oh. Going to place this field in a bottom left container. So I'm going to cut this one and paste. So there it's back again. I think I'm going to put this one in a container as well, because I want a button right next to it. It's easier to put this also in a container for the sake of alignment, and I'm going to show you why. Cut this one again, paste, call this container field, and a global op shortcut field as well. Let's see what the height of this text field is. It's 20. So the height of this container 20 as well. And if I'm going to create a button, you see here in the left corner, it's laying underneath it. And the reason why is that we have to set the alignment of this parent container, of these containers, in the children tab from left to right. Now it's sort of disappearing. And that's because the button is a little bit bigger. It's 50 by 50. Make it 20 by 20. So that's back again. And I want this button on the right of this field. And you can switch that by changing the align order in the layout tab. 0 is always the first one. 1 will be the second. And if I'm going to change the spacing, you see that it's becoming more clearly two separate UI items. I think I'm going to make this one a little bit wider. Something like this. Give it a nice number, 250. And inside of the button, going to adjust the text to go. The whole alignment order, we also have to do this in here. So if we set this UI alignment from left to right, and we should give it a max per line of 2. So it's basically top left, top right, bottom left, bottom right. We have to change the align order here as well. So this is the first one. This is the second. This is the third. This is the fourth. So there it's back again. And we change the offset here. Somewhere around here. Maybe if you change the spacing here as well. Doesn't do anything. Maybe the offset a little bit, yes. I think this is a nice starting point. So now we have our text field and our button, but it's not doing anything yet. So we go back to our bottom left field. I'm going to change this behavior of this button to momentary. So it's just basically a pulse. You can see that when I'm attaching a null to this one. So now when this one is changing from 0 to 1, we can execute a script. And we're going to fill in a script that will execute the script we've created in our string conversion container. I'm going to give this one a global op shortcut as well. Call it convert string maybe. Why not? So we had to run the script by right mouse button and run script. But I want that the go button will run this script. So this one, I'll call this one script. Back to our UI, bottom left field. Fill in op and our global op shortcut. Convert string op again. Script. Run. And we place it here in the off to on behavior. So we have to switch this one to on. It will execute when the null changes. And if you press this button here, we get an error. Let's see why. I believe we filled in convert string, no typos. Let's see if we're going to a string script. We also have to fix this one as well, because we've changed the position of our field to field. It was the op shortcut of this one, filled in here. So we can access this container with a shortcut. Let's get back to our script. Op field dot op no1. Let's see if it's working now. Yeah. No errors. Exclamation sign. I'm not sure why, but it's working. So if we change this sentence, let's see if it actually works. So you see now we have an input UI and script button. So that's the first step of our UI. There are a couple of UI elements I would like to add to control certain parameters. I think I'm going to start with the character size of the instances. And that's controlled with the size of this rectangle. This one. See if I'm adjusting this one. Text gets bigger. So I'm going to create a parameter for that one in our UI section. So going to our bottom left again. I'm going to start with a new container, maybe, but I think we can get away with only the slider, because I'm not going to place a button behind. So you see there's an alignment error. So we have to change this one from top to bottom. And you see that the offset's shifting. So we can adjust this one a little bit. Place it here. Give it a little bit of spacing. Give it 5. I think I'm making the slider a little bit bigger. I think 200. The height 20 is fine. I think I'm going to call this slider text size. And if you go to the, I believe the comment tab or the layout, let's see, look. And if you put the text one in here, the text sort of shows up. But give this one native resolution and make this one a little bit smaller. So now we have a UI element for the text size, but it's not connected yet. So I'm going inside of the slider. I think I'm going to give this slider an op shortcut again. We call it text size. So if we're going to our rectangle, create an expression, op text size. And I believe it was the first slider. So slider 1, out 1. And then the first channel of the out, that's 0. So we see we have an error. Text size. Oh yeah, I see what I did wrong. I gave the slider an op shortcut so I don't have to use this slider again. Yep. To fill in this expression for the y as well. So now when we are changing this parameter, you see that text is changing the size. So as our sentence gets shorter, sentence is short, you have more space to adjust the size of your text, but now animation is going a little bit fast. So this is a nice opportunity to give a speed parameter to control this one. Set this one to -10. It's going actually a lot faster. -1. Yeah, that's a lot slower. So we're making a second parameter for this value. Back to our bottom left container again. Give this one. This one is align order 0. We give this one align order 1. So now if we put in a second slider, this one is align order 0 as well. So if we give this one 2, it's showing up here underneath the text size parameter. I'm gonna make this one 200 as well. Copy this one. We name this speed. In the look tab, change this one to native. So there's speed. So I'm giving this one a global shortcut as well. Speed. So if we're going to our convert job, we can access the speed container, but I think I have to put in a math because the range of this constant, I think it's somewhere between 0 and -10. And this slider, if I'm not mistaken, is going from 0 to 1. So we have to fill in a math in here and adjust the range from 0 to 1, from 0 to something like -10. We'll do the trick. So this is our speed job, and we're going to access the outer one. So to our constant again. Fill in the expression, up, speed, up, out one, and the first channel. So if we adjust this, see we can play with the speed. Set it to here, and if I place it here, it actually stops. If I'm going to copy this sentence a couple of times, maybe the effect would be more noticeable. Press go. Yeah, it's working. So if it's going a little bit too slow for your taste, you can always change the math of this slider. I think I'm going to leave it for now. The second parameter, or the third, actually we already have 3 parameters. The fourth then, maybe changing the geometry shape of this, geometry size of this entire animation would be a nice adjustment. I think you can control it by this uniform scale. So something between 0, maybe 2 or 5 or something. Let's see how that will look. Slider again. This was the align order 2, so we make this 3. Copy this one. Call this one geo size. Place this one in the look. Native resolution. Make this slider a little bit wider. And as always, global up shortcut comes in handy. Geo size. Like we said, something between 0 and 5 will do the trick. The range from this knob is from 0 to 1. We'd like to have it from 0 to 5. This is the parameter we would like to put in the expression. So op, geo size, op, out 1, and the first channel. So now we have a parameter for the overall size of this animation. The next one, maybe the rotation of the camera around this shape. This one is 20. You can rotate it on the X. The Y maybe also a nice feature. So I think we're going to create 2 additional sliders in our UI. So in our bottom left container, going to create 2 sliders. Width 200 and another one. Gonna call this one rotate X. This one rotate Y. Going to call the global up shortcut rotate X as well with capital size. And this one rotate Y. Copy this text top. Call this one rotate X. And in the look panel, fill in the top. Copy that one. The look panel. Set this one to native resolution. This one as well. Call this one rotate Y. I would like to have this one underneath here. So we have to change the align order. The last one was 3. So this one is going to be 4. And this one 5. Like that. And for the rotation value, I think I'm going to cut one cycle of 360 degrees in half. So I have to adjust the range of this slider container. It's going from 0 to 1 now. So I have to stretch it up a little bit. The range is now from 0 to 1 to minus 180, positive 180. For the Y as well. Insert math. Just the range from 0 to 1 to minus 180, positive 180. So as we're adjusting these values, you see the range is basically one cycle. What I also would like to do is that I would like to have this value showing up in this slider. So I have to adjust my text expression. So instead of a string, we're making an expression in here. Put strings between these signs. Plus one empty space. Plus again, it's going to be a string. And I'm going to fill in the value of this out. So for this one, we can call the global op. It was rotate x, up again, out 1. And I think also the channel, I think it's should already work now. You see that it made float values of this. And that's a little bit long, way too precise. We don't need that. So if we convert this value to integers, then it will probably round up nicely. Let's see, I think I missed integers. Let's see, probably a typo somewhere. Open that up, yeah, and close that one. Yeah. So now you see if we adjust this slider, it will show up the values nicely. We'll do exactly the same thing for the Y rotation. Going to the text, paste it, call this one Y, and we have to access the Y operator. Okay. Now we're heading to the camera rotation fields, and we can fill in op rotate x dot op out 1, if I'm not mistaken, and the first channel. Yeah, there it is. This one is already working. For the Y, we just copy paste this one and fill in Y instead of X. So now the Y is working as well. I'm going to stop the animation for now. You can see the rotation a little bit better. X and the Y. It's working fine. Text, geometry size, you can get inside of it if you make it bigger than your camera range. And to make this tutorial not that long as the last one, we're going to add one parameter for now. I think I'm going to do something with the color, make some kind of invert effect. So the background would be black and the text would be white. So we have to connect these to the Phong and the constant 1 somehow with each other. But let's first start with a slider again. Slider, call this one invert color. Copy the text. Call this one color inverts. Put it in the look tab. Native resolution. Make the slider a little bit wider, 200 pixels. This was the 5 in the alignment order, so we call this one the 6th. So there it is. And I think the range is already fine. It's going from 0 to 1. So that's basically black and white. So I'm going to give this one an op shortcut. Just call it color for now. So if you go to the font material, the emit and the constant are giving the characters a black color. So if I'm filling in the value of this parameter, I basically have to do the invert in here. So I'll start with op color dot op out 1, because that is the standard out from a slider. I'm gonna paste this one a couple of times. So it's a grayish value. So now it's entirely black, now entirely white. So now we have to change this color. So when this one is 0, this one needs to be 1. And if this one is 1, that one needs to be 0. So we probably can do something like 1 minus, and then the expression. I think this already is going to work. Yeah, you see that as this value is 0, the RGB values of this font material color will be 0 as well. And this one is 1 minus 0. And if we increase this value, you're basically creating an invert effect. So this concludes our second part of our tutorial series about sentence instancing. The future plans. I think we're going to put in a couple of more parameters and reset buttons. But it's also kind of technical part of UI building. And I didn't want to make this tutorial as long as the last one. And the third part will start off with more complex shape creating based on geometry. In the first and the second part, we looked at the mathematical way of creating these shapes. But if you are starting to work with geometry, you can get much more complex shapes. So for now, thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. It will boost up our motivation a lot. Thank you for the support so far, and we'll catch up next time.